The Transformers franchise just dropped some of the biggest announcements we've seen in years. The studio is racing against a 2029 deadline where they could lose the rights to the entire franchise if they don't have a film actively shooting by then. And that pressure is causing absolute chaos at the studio right now. And leading the charge back into the chaos is none other than Michael Bay himself. We're talking Bay's shocking return, rumors of Megan Fox returning, major cancellations, and corporate shakeups that could change everything. We've also got Chris Hemsworth potentially jumping into the mix, brand new live-action movies that nobody saw coming, and an insider update suggesting that Michael Bay is actively reaching out to actors from the original films and more. Let's dive into all of it because what's coming is going to blow your mind. First up, recent news confirmed that Paramount's under massive time pressure here, and that's exactly what pushed them to get serious with Bay. The studio has until 2029 to start production on a new Transformers film, or they lose the rights to the entire franchise. Think about that for a second. They're not playing around anymore. So bringing back the guy who literally built the Transformers into a multi-billion-dollar phenomenon in the first place, that's their safety net. That's their ace card. Paramount is sitting on multiple Transformers scripts right now, and the recent completion of the Skydance merger is about to shake things up in a major way. On August 7, 2025, Skydance officially completed its acquisition of Paramount, creating a brand new entity called Paramount Skydance Corp. And according to reports from Deadline, the new leadership under David Ellison and Dana Goldberg is currently reviewing 3 separate Transformers scripts that were in development before the merger. One of those scripts is Bay's project, while the other 2 are completely different takes on where to take the franchise next, which I will talk about later because there is a whole other live-action movie coming. Yes, guys, after swearing off the franchise following the disappointing performance of The Last Night back in 2017, Michael Bay is officially returning to direct a brand new Transformers movie for Paramount Pictures. This isn't just Bay producing from the sidelines or slapping his name on the credits for a paycheck. He's back in the director's chair, ready to blow things up in that signature Bayhem style we all know. According to insider Matthew Baloney, Bay approached Paramount last year wanting to return as a hands-on producer with the possibility of directing, and now it's actually happening. Bay has already enlisted screenwriter Jordan Van Dina, who wrote Cocaine Bear, to pen the screenplay for this project. Now I know what you're thinking, the guy who wrote Cocaine Bear is writing Transformers, and the short answer is yes, but it could work out, hopefully. But that's not even the craziest part, because while everyone's buzzing about Bay's return, we've got original cast members from his movies starting to make noise about potential comebacks. Just last month in September 2025, Tyrese Gibson dropped a massive hint during an interview while promoting The Strangers Chapter 2. When asked about returning to Transformers, Tyrese said, and I quote, "I was just on the phone with Michael Bay last week, so that's all I can tell you." Now he's being cagey about the details, but the fact that Bay is personally reaching out to actors from his original trilogy tells us that whatever he's cooking up, Tyrese isn't the only one from Bay's crew expressing interest in suiting back up. Josh Duhamel, who played William Lennox across 4 of the first 5 films, told The Direct back in August 2025 that he would absolutely love to return if Bay comes back. Duhamel went on this whole journey in the franchise, starting as basically a cadet in the first movie, and working his way up to lieutenant colonel by The Last Night. He joked that at this point he's probably aged into being a general, and when asked if he'd heard anything about Bay's return, Duhamel admitted he hasn't gotten any official word yet but praised Bay as such a talented dude and said working with him was incredible. What's interesting here is that Duhamel genuinely seems in the dark about the project, which suggests Bay's new film is still in very early development and they haven't started reaching out to potential cast members yet. Now, before we go any further, we need to address the elephant in the room, because I've seen it all over social media and rumor. Are Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox returning for Transformers 8? There's been zero official confirmation from Paramount, Bay, or either actor about this happening. In fact, when you dig into the actual reports, most of these claims are based on wishful thinking and fan-made content, not legitimate industry sources. LaBeouf has been pretty vocal in the past about being done with Transformers, saying Sam Witwicky's story was complete after Dark of the Moon. Megan Fox, on the other hand, was famously fired from the franchise after Dark of the Moon due to her falling out with Bay, though some reports suggest they may have patched things up since then. Could they return? Sure, anything's possible in Hollywood, especially if the money's right, but right now these are just rumors being amplified by fan excitement, not confirmed casting announcements, so it probably won't happen. Let me know what you think about this. Here's where things take a sharp turn, because while Bay is developing his own Transformers movie, there's still another massive project brewing, the Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover. This crossover was teased at the end of Rise of the Beasts when Anthony Ramos's character Noah was recruited by Michael Kelly's Agent Burke into G.I. Joe. Paramount officially confirmed this crossover at CinemaCon 2024, announcing it would hit theaters sometime between 2025 and 2026. And here's the kicker. Chris Hemsworth, who voiced Optimus Prime in Transformers 1, has been in talks to star in this crossover, but not as the voice of a robot. Reports suggest Hemsworth would play a live-action G.I. Joe character, which makes way more sense for a crossover film. The project has Derek Connolly, who wrote Jurassic World, attached to write the screenplay, with Lorenzo di Bonaventura and Michael Bay producing. Steven Spielberg is on board as executive producer, which adds some serious Hollywood weight to this thing. But here's the problem: Lil, we talked about at the merger, which officially closed in August 2025, brought new leadership to Paramount, including David Ellison as CEO and Jeff Shell as president. And with new leadership comes new priorities, new scripts to review, and potentially new directions for the entire Transformers franchise. Some reports even suggest the crossover might have been quietly canceled or severely delayed, especially since Hasbro announced a new Energon Universe animated series that also combines Transformers and G.I. Joe. Why would Paramount and Hasbro run two different Transformers/G.I. Joe projects at the same time? That's the question everyone's asking, and it's raising serious doubts about whether this live-action crossover will ever actually happen. But wait, there's more bad news, and this one's a game changer. Hasbro announced they would no longer co-finance movies based on their intellectual properties, including Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Power Rangers. This decision came after a string of box office disappointments. So what does this mean for Transformers movies? Well, it means that Paramount or any other studio has to fully finance these films themselves through licensing agreements. Given Paramount's current financial struggles, this makes greenlighting expensive Transformers movies a much riskier proposition. Despite Transformers 1's box office failure, Cooley has reportedly signed a deal with Paramount to develop and direct a live-action Transformers film. This project is separate from Bay's film and separate from the G.I. Joe crossover, making it at least the third major Transformers movie in active development. What could Cooley's film be about? We don't know yet, but given his success with the animated prequel, there's speculation he might continue exploring the origins of the Transformers in a live-action setting. Some fans are hoping he'll bring that character-driven storytelling and Amblin-esque heart that made Bumblebee such a hit with critics. The big question is whether Cooley's film or Bay's film will make it to production first, and honestly, it could go either way. Cooley's track record with Transformers 1 shows he understands these characters on a deep level, but Bay's name carries box office weight that Paramount desperately needs right now. And speaking of Transformers 1, let's rip off the Band-Aid. It's not getting a sequel. Director Josh Cooley confirmed at BotCon 2025 that Paramount Animation has no interest in making a sequel, despite the film receiving overwhelmingly positive reviews from fans and critics. Let's come back to that 2029 deadline because it's the single most important factor driving all of these decisions. What happens if Paramount doesn't meet the 2029 deadline and loses the Transformers rights? Well, another studio could swoop in and take over, potentially launching a completely rebooted movie series with a fresh vision. Imagine if someone like Warner Bros. Or Universal got the rights and hired a visionary director to do a totally new take on Transformers. Maybe something closer to the comics or the original animated series. On the other hand, losing the rights could mean no Transformers movies for years while legal battles and negotiations play out. Hasbro would have to find a new studio partner willing to fully finance these films, which isn't easy in today's market where studios are being extremely cautious about big-budget franchise bets. Personally, I think Paramount will meet the deadline one way or another, even if it means rushing Bay's film into production because the financial stakes are just too high. Let's try to make sense of all this chaos. Based on everything we know right now, here's what seems most likely to happen. Michael Bay's Transformers film is probably the frontrunner to actually get made, with a potential release sometime between 2027 and 2028 if it gets greenlit soon. Josh Cooley's live-action film is also in development, but it's probably further behind Bay's project in terms of priority. The Transformers/G.I. Joe crossover is in serious limbo, possibly canceled or severely delayed due to the Paramount Skydance merger and Hasbro's funding pullout. Transformers 1 is not getting a sequel, so fans hoping for more of that story are out of luck. And somewhere in the mix, there are a couple other mystery Transformers projects being kicked around that we know nothing about. Chris Hemsworth might join the G.I. Joe crossover if it even happens. And we're going to be covering every single development as this story unfolds. If you want to stay updated on all the latest Transformers news, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a thing. And let me know in the comments which of these projects are you most excited about. Do you want to see Michael Bay finish his saga, or would you rather see something completely new?